short introduction. Then we'll hear from MD Mominul Hamid. We'll take a short 5-minute break. Then we'll hear from Dr. Karin Geuyen. And then there is some time for questions from the audience. And after that, we will raise some things that you can do to help out, basically, and some fundraising opportunities. First of all, situation looks like I'll define a refugee, asylum seeker, and immigrant, and I'll shortly go into the international legal framework. I believe refugees in higher education, but let's hear him talk about that himself. I'm sure he can explain way better than me.
Thank you, Cohen. Hello, everyone. I hope all of you are okay. First of all, I would like to wish you a nice evening with a wish from north of England, obviously with a Merry Christmas background. So thanks for joining me today. We'll go through with a couple of facts and the things about human displacement today. You can let me know if you can see it. That will be really great. So just before I start, actually, in the chat box, I had a question to all of you to give that a go. That how many of you have met real life refugees and asylum seeker in your life? You can answer in the chat, or you can probably thumbs up in here. I will be really grateful about it. So yeah, I can say, yeah, a lot of us has met with the real life refugees and asylum seekers. So that makes my work really easy. Thanks so much. So the next one, what is I'm going to do today is in the next 30 minutes. Obviously, I consider as a student could be a boring, but I'll try my best to make it happen nice. The causes of human displacement, why people move their countries and become asylum seekers and refugees. This came through with my little research, which I have published in my own blog. There is some reasons behind it. People doesn't leave their country for a reason. If you are international students in this place, you probably have known that why you left your country. The reason behind this is for education, isn't it? So I have found 6 specific reasons for causes of human displacement, which I will go through with you guys today. I think I haven't introduced myself too much, but it is part of boring part of the lecture, actually, to talk about yourself a lot and then show up people what you are, what you do. I'll do that in a bit later on. Let's leave it for later. In terms of my accent in English, if you do not understand anything, please do let me know by private message. You can send me in Zoom or just share it in the platform. I will make it clear as much as I can. What is the thing in the human displacement? Cohen has mentioned about all these already. This is around 26 million refugees around the world. There's an interesting fact which I have picked up, that there is 40% of them are children. So if you can imagine that if there is 40% of our children, what is the possibilities of these refugees and asylum seekers? Because if you think as an adult, who will be the future of this beautiful world? This will be the children's. So out of this 26 million refugees, if we count 40% of those are children, this is our moral obligation to look after those children, to make this world a beautiful place. Moving on to the next, Cohen already has mentioned it, but I would like to mention it again. 85% of these refugees have been hosted by developing countries, not developed, it's developing countries. Why it is happening, I will talk about it in a bit. Let's move on to the next one. So I don't know, okay, got it. Oh, that seems some animation I forgot to add. There you go. So the reasons of human displacement, there is 6 reasons, which I have found through my little research. First one is bad government. Second one is war. Third one is climate change. The fourth one is discrimination against minorities, gender, child displacement, race, religious belief, or faith, and domestic violence. This is quite big when I put it together because I didn't want to put, enlarge my list and people forget about it. And the number 5 is economic reason. And number 6 is human trafficking and slavery, which in a sort of ways, it covers the number 4 or number 5 as well. So going back to the number 1, why bad government is the one of the reason for human displacement. We have seen this specific reason across the world that how bad government has led people to seek sanctuary. Sanctuary means seek asylum, seek refuge. It is also considered one of the worst reasons why people are being displaced and seek asylum politically. It is one of the reason political asylum people are seeking around the world. There could be a fear of life, threat, or being a life sentence against them through the injustice in their country. In Africa, in some African countries and some Asian countries, for an example, I'm from Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, whenever the government is being changed, there is a trend of people being cross-fired. Cross-fired means they will take you somewhere. If you are not in from the government party, you have done something wrong with the current elected party, they will put you in crossfire using the elite forces, and there is no answers behind it. They will put you in the jail, they will kill you, or you will be lost. Nobody will know where you are. So normal people also being put into this situation sometimes just because they support certain group of political groups, religious group, they have been put into this situation. Sometimes it is the law enforcement who play a vital role in this game, like in this scenario, like to extort money from normal and general people and put their life in risk. There is a lot of example even in African countries like Sudan, Zimbabwe is a perfect example of that. So far, am I clear? Are you understanding what I'm saying, guys? If not, just let me know. I'm happy to explain it again. Obviously, I'm very concerned about the time I've got. The second one is war. It is also a major reason for the people are being displaced. There was a war there is a war or was a war in Syria, Iraq, Libya, and the world was the perfect example for them. There is a new kind of where refugees are including in this list in my analysis, which is quite interesting. I would like to do a research about it probably pretty soon. I found out there's a new kind of refugees are turning out in this specific sector. It's called, I named it cyber refugees. I don't know if you heard about cyber refugees. It's not that refugees you find it in Japan or in Tokyo, that they don't have any place to stay, so they leave or they stay or they spend their whole night in the cyber cafe. Cyber cafe is a place where you have got internet access. So it is not that cyber refugees. These cyber refugees I have named specifically. If you have seen Iran and some typical religious countries, if you have different views and you sort of your blogging, social medias, then you are being prosecuted. This is also goes back to the political reason, but this cyber refugees is one of the newest trend in the world, which is arising even from my own country. You will see in the future. And there is a lot of people now from my own country has been seeking refuge or seeking asylum, being a cyber refugee in my country, because they have posted a blog, probably that goes against the belief of some people or the belief of the government. So this came through with my little idea, research that the cyber refugees are coming. And interestingly, this cyber refugees creates a direct link with the social media of why people seek refuge. This is quite interesting, I've found out. And In most cases, human rights and freedom of speech and opinion is only exist in papers in some countries, not in real life. So I would really like to see an extensive work or research if we could do in this sector. Number three, number three is the climate change. I think don't have to talk about it too much, but let's talk about it a little bit because we all need to know. I was watching a documentary in YouTube about climate change, and then about the effects of migration. I can assure you there's a huge and most alarming situations we are heading for the future we are not concerned about. In Morocco, if you know about that, around 60% of Moroccans are now wants to move to different countries because they cannot live in the desert. There is sometimes indigenous people displaced from their place another country because of deforestation, drought, and natural disaster. Examples can be found out countries like Brazil, Middle East, and even in Asia. I was been consulting this matter with his honorable judge, Judge Howard Morrison, who was the International Criminal Court judge in Hague. I met with him last year in a conference, and it is quite important you listen to this specific quote from him. Me, you, and all of us in this little lecture session, we are one of the 3% of most prestigious students in all over the world who got this chance to come to university. Specifically to the developed world, to the first world country universities. And we are in the Zoom now. By 2050, this is from Judge Howard Morrison, who is an international judge in the International Criminal Court. He told me and all of the students when he came that by after 2050, there will be a shortage, severe shortage of sweet water. Sweet water means the water we can drink. We can use it for our day-to-day life. And what will happen for that? Because of this, there will be civil war, civil unrest between the countries, which is already has been going in some Asian countries between India and Bangladesh. If you know about the river Nile, there's a lot of things going behind the scene. And that will be really actual in further foreseeable future. And one of the most interesting fact is that I don't want to scare any one of you in here, but again, I respect the fact what Judge Honorable Sir Howard Morrison was explaining, that the glass of water, what you are drinking now, will have to be shared with 3 other more people after 2050. So that is an alarming fact. It's not only affecting or creating the climate refugees, it is creating a loss of problems coming up, which we need to confront. Why I have mentioned that we are one of the 3% privileged people in this world to come to university. Judge Howard Morrison has mentioned that this changes is on you guys. You can make this change. If you work behind this scene, if you want to make this world a better place after 2050, you are that generation who has to do something. Well, I'm not gonna explain too much about it, but I thought my message is clear, but I will answer any questions about it later on if there is any. Number 4 is one of the biggest reasons.
Sorry, could I interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah.
It says the meeting will end in 6 minutes. I was under the impression that this account was able to have unlimited meetings, but apparently it had to be hosted from a different place. Someone is sending me a permanent link. So if this meeting ends, I will send out that link again. So that should be good. I'm really sorry for this disturbance, but it should be good afterwards.
No problem, thanks. Yeah, so shall I continue? And then if that goes off, I will come back to it. Number 4, discrimination against minorities, gender, child displacement, race, religious belief or faith, and domestic violence. There is a loss of religious minorities across the Middle East, like Iraq and Iran. where if you are a different faith person, you will be treated differently. If in lots of cases, they are being discriminated by being even there in their own country. If you read the news about USA, you will find how many children are being abandoned, and sadly they are suffering where they're seeking sanctuary. There is a lot of countries where it's illegal to be homosexual. The government will encourage to murder people if you are gay in Uganda, for an example. It is still there. It is also happening in a couple of Islamic countries where they do not recognize those homosexual groups. In terms of race, a lot of is going in terms of in Kurds, in Iraq, Syria, and Iran. Even in India, there is a huge segregation in the same religions for being a different caste member. Domestic violence is also a major reason for human displacement. I may discuss this in my future lectures. Actually, I'm being a bit opportunist, probably, to come back to you guys again. Number five, sorry, economic reason. Another one is an economic reason, if you can see in number five, which is always been overlooked by the social media, the world media, and most of us. It is one of the economic circumstances which has been ignored a lot of time and not been picked up by the social media. If you live in poverty, starvation, then you definitely search for a new resource to live. For example, a lot of people, when I lived in Ulster is a place in UK, has moved from Ulster to find a secure job around Europe. And that is one of the reasons for displacement. In terms of refugees and asylum seekers, sometimes it's also applicable as well. So unfortunately, opportunities like this, like you have, if you are holding a European Union passport, it is easy for you to move. But for people like us, there is none. So this is one of the reasons I consider as well. People from Mali and Niger are also being forced to choose desert life and die because there is no resources. Economic condition is much needed to secure a human being life, as the most causes of the country does not have a social welfare systems like Europe around the world. There is a lot of economic expert around the world who also went around the world for economic reason. In UK, if English people move to Europe, they call them expats. And if you move from Europe to other countries, you are being called as an immigrant. But in our terms, because we are the lowest, or probably the people who fled from where for economic reason, we are being called asylum seekers and refugees. So I find it a bit disturbing in a way or another. Number six, we got 2 minutes something left, so I will try to do that and come back. It's called human trafficking and slavery. Although this reason is caused by individuals and gang members, and is also causing displacement and create new refugees. This is one of the, one of the vast reason for human displacement after drug and murder, or honor killing in the whole world. The business of drugs and other things, human trafficking comes second, or arms and ammunition. It is one of my real life example. I was a survivor of human trafficking and slavery inside the UK. So the victims do not have any choices left to leave their country and to listen to the people what they want them to do. This is a huge complex sector, which I'm personally hoping to explore during my LLB degree as a victim of modern day slavery and trafficking inside the UK. Very often it is created by one of the reasons above here, so which I already have covered. So the next topic I will discuss is the global humanitarian response on these key issues, which we should be dealt with. Yeah. So regarding the, again, I'm gonna start quickly, the global humanitarian response on the human displacement. Like Afghanistan, Afghanistan still has a lot of problems going on. The government control details and the Taliban control the sort of the countryside. There is a refugee camp in Pakistan, in Peshawar, which was probably has probably 1 million of Afghani refugees. does not have the right to go out of their camp. Camps in Bangladesh, like the Rohingya people are currently displacing in a remote islands. They have been forced to be going there in some cases. And between the border of India and Bangladesh, there is a strict border rules. So even the Rohingyas are easily coming to Bangladesh. They cannot really move to India and other countries. So the border policy is very strict. What came to my little research that the world community is spending much more and very concerned about the border world or the border restrictions rather than saving those human beings or rather than to look after those human beings about their problems. For an example, if you are, I don't know about Netherlands, I was never been there, but if you have a road and you have two-sided houses, if you're living in a house and you're having some problems with foods, let's say, it's just an imaginary thought, but it's happening in lots of other countries where there's a war and refugees. If you don't have food, first what do, you ask the people you know, and then if you failed, you went to the houses around your area, around your road, one by one and ask for food. And then if they refuse it, then what you do, you go to the next road, isn't it? So what is happening in this point at the moment, that there is a lot of refugees are jumping from one country to another. This is how this example is coming. If you go to ask for food to the next road, avoiding your own road because you know there is no food, the other road is always telling you, and some people will tell you that, why don't you ask your own road people to give you some food? So this is exactly what is happening, signposting around the countries that nobody wants to take the liability of the refugees and asylum seekers in the field. And what I have found out, these developing countries like England, European countries, America, they think the major solutions of this problem is a donation. It's the money you can give it to them and they sort this out. Like in Bangladesh, they give a lot of aid and then they think, this is your problem. Now you sort this out. We don't want to hear anything. This is the money, we can give that to you. But bearing in mind, those third world countries are full of corruptions. So at least I can assure you, being a Bangladeshi citizen, at least probably 99% of this donation doesn't arrive to the people where it's supposed to be. Internationally, politically, nothing has happened. There is old rules, the conventions which needs to be reformed using the new expertise, real life experienced people, I think. And the reason actually rest of the world, they don't feel they have to do it because the media is against it. There is a big people against this situation because they are creating this problem. For an example, about Palestine, they were driven from their own country after the creation of Israel 1949. A million of them has been driven out of Israel and they are still living in refugee camp in Syria. In Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, and other countries, they have never given them status, even though their fourth generation has been born in those countries and they are not been given any human rights in those countries. Moving into the next discussion, don't have the right, like in the UK, I don't have personally the right to work. I don't have the right to support myself. I will not prolong this lecture, but let's go into the next fact quickly so I can finish it quickly. Yeah, so yeah, it's about myself. I'm an asylum seeker. As I have promised you, I'll talk to you about me, what I am and what I do in the UK. I'm an asylum seeker at the moment. I have survived a modern day slavery and trafficking inside the UK. I was confined in a house for 6 months. Then I was being rescued. I have made some changes in the higher education of asylum seekers in the UK. This is a huge thing. In 2018, I was being given a study ban that I cannot access to study by the immigration in here. I challenged that decision under Human Rights Act, Article 8, and I win that case. And through my case, the legislation was being changed for all the new asylum seekers in this country that they have the right to access to higher education after my case in 2018, which came through the Immigration Bail Act 2.0, which was published in 11th of May 2018. So if there is any scholarship, any brochures was been given by the universities, access to higher education for new asylum seekers was been open after that. Before that, there was a study ban to asylum seekers. So that was the change I was managed to make. Probably it was being made, I could say. I did introduce the first asylum seeker-led project in the UK during the COVID-19, facilitating food packs around 700 people in 6 months. And I've got a lot of social media attention. I've written an article in Huffington Post. My interview went to Washington Post and BBC and other parts of the world. Currently studying law in a scholarship in Northumbria University. Obviously, I have gone through with the university ranking. Yesterday, I was thinking about Woodbridge, and I've seen I'm far away from your university in terms of ranking, but it is a quite privilege for me to be here. My dream about is certainty. My life is very uncertain. I want a certain life, which is I'm looking for. Wish to explore the world and spread the importance of empathy and compassion. I wish to be a barrister in future and help people like me and work in the United Nations. I want to open the first international immigration court in the world in the future. And I hope your blessings will be with me. Last but not on the list, there is some request to you, all of you, that you are the luckiest generation in this world. Make sure you follow the carbon footprint. I always buy my clothing from secondhand shops, like charity shops. I try to save as much as I can. Be an ambassador. You are an ambassador. You are in the university. It doesn't have to, you don't have to be student rep to be an ambassador. You can be an ambassador in your community. So changes begin with you. Always remember, do not wait for anyone to change it. You have listened to all these words from before from some experts on here, but I'm telling you from my inside that it happens if you want it. I know what you guys will think that, oh no, again, but believe me, believe on yourself and you will do it. I always add the last sentence about my beloved mom. She left me last year because of cancer. I couldn't support her in Bangladesh. She was a school head teacher. She used to tell me the last word she told me before she passed away, that be there for people, be there for your community, something good will happen in return. So I always believe on this principle. I hope you will all as well. And that's it from my side. So any questions and anything you want to ask me, please do. Thank you.
It's very inspiring. Thank you.
I will stop sharing my. Thank you everyone for listening to my boring lecture. It was not a lecture. I'm a student, you see. I never thought I would be in this kind of platform, but thank you for giving me this opportunity. I will talk about it more if the questions comes up. Thank you.
Maybe it could be, oh, sorry, just got a text about a new Zoom link that is actually should be working. So maybe answer some questions. Sorry.
Sam had his hand raised, I thought, right?
Yeah. So can I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, first of all, thank you for sharing your story and also your research. I have a question regarding one of the causes of human displacement. It was discrimination.
Yes.
In your slide, one of the reasons for discrimination that you typed was child displacement. Maybe I missed it during the lecture. I'm sorry, during the sharing. It's not a lecture. Can you tell us? Can you tell me a little bit more about what child displacement exactly is?
Child displacement means that there's a loss of refugee child. They have lost their parents during the war, or during the, during the economic problems, during the environmental problems. So what you do with those child, how you care them, because they don't have parents, they never know who was their parent was. I use a quick example because I had to be very quick in my lecture because I got limited time, which was 30 minutes. That if you see in America, they are building a wall between Mexico and America, and there is abandoned children in America. They don't know where their parents are at the moment. So these are the cause of child displacement, and this is the indirect racism. If I give you a real life example, even in the UK, the UK government has stopped. They have passed a House of Parliament regulations a couple of months back that they are not allowing the refugee children to reunite with their families. So that is one of the major reason what is going on in this sector. It is related to the child displacement. I hope I gave you the right answer, but whatever I'm talking to you in here, I'll share my blog link. You will find every single things in there, first of all. So if you missed it, and what I did, I should have mentioned it to you guys. I have recorded my part of little bit of lecture. I'll upload it in the YouTube. So in case in future you need to see it, you need to do anything, you can do it from there. And I hope you guys don't mind about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, that definitely answered my question. I actually opened your blog while you were giving the sharing, so I actually didn't miss a lot, and it was a good blog. Thank you. Yeah.
Daniel, you also have a question?
Yeah, hi. First of all, thank you very much. That was really inspiring. I was wondering, when you realized that you were not allowed to study, how did you approach that problem? Like, who did you go to, and how did you manage to change the current state?
Yeah, it was not easy, trust me, because indirect institutional racism is always there. It was really, really hard for me, I can promise you. I had to hear some places I go, you are just a refugee and asylum seeker. You cannot study. So what I did, I used my skill. I went to online. I asked to people, like, like sort of begging that, can you please help me? I want to study. I want to change something. I want to work with people like me. Um, there is still good people around the world. There's still nice people who wants to be there for people. Otherwise, this world will be really hard place. So I got an organization who actually appealed that decision when I got a study ban. And I went to the High Court of Justice in London. You wouldn't imagine the immigration officer was telling the judge, the honorable judge, can we have 2 more months to give you answer why we stopped this guy to go to university? The university study I'm going, it was been funded by external scholarship, not by government money, because I'm not permissible to access to public fund, which is government fund. I don't get any public fund. I only get 38 pounds a week to live my life. So that started from there. And I never thought that will bring a huge change. This change has bring a loss of new scholarship around the UK, around the university. I never stopped after that though. I lost my scholarship that year because of this case in a Teesside University. I ran a campaign in Newcastle. You'll find in my YouTube that I used to do protests inside the university. Through my campaign last year, the university I'm studying, Northumbria, has given 6 scholarships to asylum seekers specifically. Newcastle University has given 3 scholarships this year. So every year in the part where I am living, 2 universities is giving 9 scholarships to the asylum seekers. What is my belief is if you give education to people, they will do something for the community, even if you pay it to them, you will get it back. So it was not easy, as I told you, but it happened because I think I had an honest intention that, okay, let's bring it, let's do it. Not easy. Trust me, people don't want to give you opportunities if you are in this kind of status in the community. Thank you.
Yeah, that's that's really impressive that you just kept going and kept trying. And if I may ask two follow-up questions, like first of all, how long did this whole process take? How much time did it take up? And what is the current legal situation regarding asylum seekers and their right to study?
The current situation for asylum seekers, like as I told you, I was being trafficked from France to UK in 2017. I was being sort of confined in a house and worked in a restaurant for 6 months. Then I was rescued. From 2018, it took me around 2 years to go to higher education and to get a scholarship. Getting a scholarship is not easy because you have to have some elements on you. They take you interviews and all these things. In terms of the legal aspects of the new asylum seekers in this country, the Home Office, which is the immigration in the UK, cannot put any restrictions or study ban on them because of my case. So this is sort of like a principal case or statute case in the UK. Even Home Office try to do that to the asylum seekers at the moment. They cannot do that because they have passed a new Asylum Bail Act after probably 10 years through my case, that a person should not be imposed a study ban if he is a new asylum seeker. So that saves, yeah, I mean, probably changed lots of new asylum seekers' life. Just bearing in mind, 9 people are now studying in the university, which it was a dream for me. I never thought I would be in university.
That's so inspiring. Thank you so much. It's really awesome how you lead by a good example. Thank you very much.
Thank you.